But I do think over time, we have the capability to render that particular site ineffective. It's obviously underneath a mountain, and I think the engineers are contributing to how you do that, but it likely has to collapse down on itself. So I think it's achievable, but it's a formidable target.
That's General Jack Keane with us last hour, talking about the challenge posed by Iran's Fordo nuclear plant, which so far has not been touched in this war, we believe, based on the reporting there. It's believed to be located about 300 feet beneath a mountain. It could potentially be taken out by an American bomb known as a bunker buster. Meanwhile, at the White House, we expect the president to meet with his national security team at any time now. He came back from the G7 in Canada a day early for that meeting in person. Dan Hoffman's with me now. And Dan, good morning to you. Take us through the thought process before you start blowing up mountains in Iran. Take us through the thought process on behalf of the Israelis/United States on this first, and then we'll get to the Iranian question.
Yeah, Bill, I can tell you from my decades-long career at CIA, we don't do policy at the CIA. We recruit spies and steal secrets, but I was a backbencher many times during policy deliberations of this sort. And what I expect the president will be hearing from his advisors are, what are the options to get to the end state that we want? And remember why the Trump administration withdrew from the JCPOA in the first Trump administration. It was because of the nuclear program, the sunset clauses, because JCPOA did not deal with Iran's ballistic missile program, as well as Iran's proxy terrorist network. And so right now we've got a better opportunity than we've ever had before to deal with those three challenges for our national security. It doesn't mean we have to blow up Fordo, but it does mean that Iran is going to have to, in the words of their supreme leader, drink from the poison chalice and agree to a serious round of negotiations where we get to the end state that we want. Intelligence collection is going to be key on Iran's plans and intentions, their military, their intelligence, and their clerics. I imagine that we're on a full court press to provide the president with what he needs.
Well, let's talk about the Iranian side here on the ballistic missiles. It's essentially because they have no air power to control the skies. Ballistic missiles are about the only thing they have to threaten Iran today. Benjamin Netanyahu said the other day, if you do not halt their missile program, they could build 3,600 a year. Well, we believe when the war started 5 days ago that they had 3,000. I thought of those 3,000, about 1,000 had the ability to travel the 1,500 kilometers or 900 miles from Tehran to Tel Aviv. And if the Iranians have already fired 400 of those missiles, they have a calculation to make, Dan, because that country right now is cornered and will be even more so very soon.
Yeah, and as you noted, Israel owns the skies. Remember, a year ago, April, Israel destroyed Iran's air defenses. Israel's got covert operatives on the ground. They've been lethally targeting Iran's military, senior military leaders, and their nuclear scientists. Israel owns the battle space. And Iran's regime security right now is more tenuous than it's ever been since going back to its war against Iraq in the 1980s. And so the question is whether we are going to strike a deal now, as President Trump would like to do now. Maybe Iran won't want to make a deal, and maybe they'll rush for a nuclear weapon now, in which case we may not have any other choice than to pursue a military option. But I would expect this president to pursue every and all available means to negotiate a way out of this, if indeed there is an opportunity to do so.
All right, there is a report, I don't know if it's the case, but there's a report that the Iranian leadership, those who are still in power and alive, said don't communicate by our regular communications anymore. The suggestion there I took away is that the Iranians have infiltrated that entire country. And just the thought on what they've been able to execute here, literally, when you've got a brand new leader of the army get taken out within a matter of days after he was elevated to that job.
Listen, the key thing in wartime is to find, fix, and finish your targets, and that depends on intelligence. Israel's got Iran wired, and they're able to collect on everyone's location, just like they did with Hezbollah and the pager operation, Bill. And that gives Israel a significant upper hand, as we've seen in this war.
Dan, nice to see you. Thanks. We'll talk again very soon. Dan Hoffman with his analysis. Thank you very much.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.